My name is Cassandra Fernandez, and I serve as one of the ministers of the Broward Church staff. During this pandemic, our work looks very different. We're busier than ever with our families and our jobs, and with quarantine orders in place, we have no choice but to manage our home and our family. We can't take our kids to school and go to the office. That just hasn't been an option. We have to reassess our schedules and manage our time in a different way. Trying to figure out the balance of working from home and taking care of our kids and being their homeschool teachers. It's exhausting. And as we figure out what to prioritize with these things, it's easy to wonder, is it valuable to have an eye on the affairs of my household? Looking after my family, assessing their needs, meeting their needs, does it really matter that much? Maybe I'm better off focusing on my outside job and other projects I have going on. I'm just feeling too overwhelmed right now. For the past 2 weeks, we've been turning to the Proverbs 31 woman for insight and guidance in a 4-week devotional series titled Call Her Blessed. So today as we read this scripture, let's see if we can find the answer to the question, is managing my home and my family work that is meaningful? Proverbs 31, verse 27. She watches over the affairs of her household and does not eat the bread of idleness. If you read the full chapter about her, you will see that she is a woman who loves God. She is valuable. She's a great wife. She's praiseworthy. She's blessed. She works hard outside of her home. And in addition to all that she does, she also manages her household, her family. And this passage uses this illustration of her not consuming the bread of idleness. So the contrast to her is someone who consumes idleness, right? And idle is defined as avoiding work, lazy, without purpose or effect, pointless. And consumption means the using up of a resource. So the opposite of her is someone consuming or using the resources of their time and energy that could or should be used to manage our family and is spending it instead on idleness or being used without purpose or effect. I'm sure most of us feel busier than ever, so the idea of any of us being idle, it might not initially resonate. But I can feel the groans from the camera. If I want to make a frozen pizza, I'm going to make a frozen pizza. I can't even take a shower in peace these days. And I'm with you. My 9-month-old boy is crawling everywhere. And it seems like much of my job these days has been following him around the house and making sure he doesn't hurt himself, while my 3-year-old daughter demands my attention on the other side of the house. Who has time for dinner, right? But look at this woman. She is so impressive. She seems to have figured out the secret. This verse says that she does not consume the bread of idleness. As women, we are very in the know about what we should and shouldn't eat, right? We've become so familiar with what it takes to lose weight, to have energy, to feel good about ourselves. It's all about what we eat. When I met with a personal trainer at the gym, one of those free sessions that they try to get you to sign up, they told me that weight loss and physical health was 20% exercise and 80% diet. What we eat matters. Imagine if all we ever ate was bread or carbs. I love bread, so actually that would be amazing, but only in the beginning, because quickly we would see our health and our energy plummet, and our weight would significantly increase every month, every year. And you probably wouldn't live long enough to see what decades looked like. But a bread diet would really hurt you. And similarly, an idle life can hurt you and even destroy your family. Idleness hurts you and your family because we can't address what we don't see. So we miss opportunities for spiritual training when we are distracted or distant. We miss the chance to enjoy our children while they're still at home. And it hurts our family because we become more like roommates. We all live together and we just try to coexist, but we don't really know our kids and our husband, what they think, what they're feeling, what they need. The bread diet will hurt you. And if we look, the Proverbs 31 woman, she doesn't even have bread in her diet. She is gluten-free. The idea of laziness, it's not a reality in her life. She knows how important it is to work hard and to manage her home and her family. I wonder how much more we would be able to accomplish if we manage our time in such a way that we could be as fierce and on top of it as this Proverbs 31 woman. She seems to have figured out how to be a seamstress, a real estate agent, a cook, an investor, a woman who works long hours, a philanthropist, a negotiator, a vendor, a commodities trader, and an amazing wife and mother. Gosh, I'm exhausted just saying all that she does. But because idleness is not on that list, she can manage her time so she's able to accomplish everything. So what's the value of watching the affairs of your family? It's priceless. It's an eternal investment. When we are observing the needs of our husband and our children, being aware of what's going on, we have the opportunity to plant seeds into their lives. We can instill the teachings of Jesus when we love and serve our husband and teach our children the Bible so that when they're older, they won't depart from them. The Proverbs woman is planting a seed today, knowing that it will be fruit in the future. Perhaps there's something to be said for watching the affairs being equated with being present. She is present and engaged in the affairs of her home, so she's better equipped to meet the spiritual and emotional needs. She can probably identify when someone is sad or lonely or hurting, or if they're struggling with sin and temptation. Like, she really knows what's going on with her kids and her spouse. She's not in denial. It's not catching her by surprise, because she's watching over the affairs, and her choices are very purposeful. Like, maybe she makes a frozen pizza so that she has more time to have a good talk with her teen. Maybe she scrolls through social media to connect with some women who build her up so she could return to giving to her family. When we are present, we can find teachable moments and ways to help our kids build good character. Or when we have conversations with our family, they can learn about our convictions and our beliefs. David Platt has this great quote. He says, "Live today for what's going to matter 10 billion years from now." Sometimes, working an outside job can feel like easier work than managing your house, because it's exhausting to be emotionally present with our families all the time. We give, and give, and it can be draining. It feels like hard work today because often we don't see the results for years. So many women are advocating more self-care than ever before, but perhaps there's something to be said for the idea of having a well-planned schedule to avoid escapism in social media and still allow for much-needed recharging time. Because what we do with our time is important, and being purposeful and being involved with your family, it is meaningful. It's meaningful and it matters to God. It's meaningful to pray with your kids before they eat and at bedtime. Teaching them stories of the Bible or having family devotions if you have older children. Managing the cleanliness of our homes and teaching our children to do it too. To repeat the same instructions 50 times a day, say thank you, clean up after yourself, pray with me. It's meaningful. It's meaningful to find your teen doing something they're not supposed to do and having a good spiritual conversation about it. To get input from women you see as Proverbs 31 women at different seasons who know your character. All of this takes patience, time, diligence, but we do it because watching over the affairs of our household is meaningful. So here are some tips, some practicals to manage your household in a meaningful way. As we begin our day, we can pray and choose to have thankful hearts. We can pray for patience, good time management. We can learn to find joy and gratitude every time we fold a towel or wash a dish. We can include our children in household chores, teaching them good life skills. We can go on a family walk and talk about what's going on in their lives and in your life. Be aware of the conversations your kids are having with their friends on FaceTime or Zoom. Maybe you could watch how they work on their school assignments and help them build godly character, things like integrity, not procrastinating, being diligent, and so on. Ask questions about how they're feeling during these COVID times. Basically, have your mommy antennas up and be aware of what your family needs from you. Studying out this passage has been incredibly convicting for me. So I'm trying to wake up earlier than my kids so I can read my Bible, pray that God can really help me accomplish the tasks for the day, to not be idle, and to give myself time to plan my schedule and what my day will look like. I want to make an effort to put these things into practice. Maybe you can share in the comments below some things you've learned that have worked for you and your family in this time. Ephesians 5 reminds us to walk as wise, not as unwise, making the best use of our time. Because being at home right now, it could be a blessing, an opportunity to implement the noble qualities of the Proverbs 31 woman and make the most of our time. Watching over the affairs of my home is meaningful work, and if we strive for this, we too could be called blessed. Thank you.